Hello, my name is Casey Helwig, and I am currently studying abroad in Aix-en-Provence, France, with a host mom. So I'm doing a homestay, and I'm going to talk a little bit about transportation issues that I have come into contact with, or that I've heard about from other people or other students that are doing the study abroad thing here with me. So in France, one of the main ways to get around is all public transportation. The roads here are really small or really expensive. They have these things called autoroutes, which are pretty much like freeways, but you have to pay in order to use them. And so the one trip that I took with my family was about a 2 hour drive on the autoroute, and it ended up costing 40 euros, which is like 54 US dollars for 2 hours. So it's really expensive to end up taking a car. And I haven't looked into renting a car, but I've also heard from other students that it's also really expensive to do that as well. So because of that, one of the main transportation forms is all public. So a lot of buses, a lot of flying, a lot of trains. And what's really cool here is that they have the bullet trains, which go pretty fast, and then will get you mostly anywhere on time. And it's really easy to go up and down France. And if you're looking at a globe and you look at France, you can go up and down pretty easily, but going across is a lot more difficult because of where the train routes are. So it's like if you try to go to Western France from the south, you have to go all the way up to Paris and then all the way over. You can't just go a direct as the crow flies line, which I've learned is takes a little bit longer, so that's a little bit difficult. But one of the problems with transportation here is that there's a lot of strikes that happen. And I was talking to my host mom about this, and when people go on strike, they have to tell the company that, hey, we're all going to go on strike, so all the people who drive these buses are not going to be working this week or this weekend or whatever, or this day. And then the company pretty much just has to say, okay, I guess we're not going to have any buses that day. So they have to say it 8 days in advance, which is kind of nice because if you check regularly, you can tell if whatever bus you're going to take is on a strike, and so then you won't be able to take it. But I was talking to these two girls who went to Western France, and they were staying at a hotel, and their shuttle bus worker was on strike, and so their trip back from the hotel to the airport, they couldn't get back, and they had to buy a taxi because the shuttle bus was on strike. So it's really difficult to make sure that all of your transportation routes that you've planned in advance actually will work when you get to your location that you're trying to get to. So that's one of the main issues. And we haven't had a strike here in X yet, but I've heard that they do happen, and they happen kind of frequently, to where you can't use the buses. So it kind of puts everybody at a halt in a way. But there's nothing that we can really do about it because in the government system, you legally have the right to strike. So you can't really say, hey, but I have to go to this place. They don't care. And then flights here are pretty cool. You can use Ryanair, which will get you pretty much anywhere for really cheap. But they use a lot of weird airports, so you kind of have to figure out how much more a bus or a taxi or something is going to take you to get from your airport to wherever your location is that you're trying to get to abroad. My host family does have a car, which is different than a lot of other people's. And so we have a car to be able to get places, but it's interesting because here they don't use a car to go to the grocery store or to do errands or anything like that because it's just easier and faster to walk. And there isn't a lot of parking. So one of the problems with renting cars here is that there's nowhere to park them once you get there. And another issue with driving cars here is that there's nowhere to park them. So if you drive to a convenience store or drive to get your hair cut or drive to anywhere, you really are kind of stuck there to do exactly what you were there for. So that's a little bit different. So mostly everybody here just walks, which is kind of cool because you end up burning a lot of spare calories, which is helpful with all the cheese and pastries that we eat here. But it's pretty cool to know that you can pretty much get anywhere with public transportation, and it's pretty cheap. I went 20 minutes away on the bus, and it only costed me €1, so $1.30 USD. So that was pretty cool. But overall transportation here, you just kind of need to be careful and make sure that you know exactly where you're going, and that you know that nothing is on strike and everything's going to work. But transportation here is mostly just walking, is the main thing. It's not like in the US where mostly everybody drives to school or drives to the store or drives to wherever. Everything here is just close enough that you either need to walk or you need to take a bus. And then for traveling, buses and trains are usually cheaper than flights, unless you book through Ryanair and can get a really good deal. But that's my advice for transportation in France. Just be careful and know where you're going and know what's up, and you'll be good. All right, thanks.